Hello, everybody. Welcome to the lunch table. My name's Evan. Today I'm joined with Weave and Nick. And today we're going to be doing some NFL playoff predictions. Playoff time. Week 18 just wrapped up this past weekend. And now it's playoff football. And we're going to give our predictions. But before we do that, make sure to like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed and you're excited to watch the playoffs. And to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at lunchtable.takes. The playoffs have now been locked after last week's games. So the playoff bracket stands. I'll go 1 through 7 for each division, for each conference, and then we'll dive into the predictions. But the Ravens have clinched the 1 seed and have a first-round bye. Then we have the Bills, Chiefs, Texans, Browns, Dolphins, and Steelers to round out the AFC. Then the winners of the NFC are the San Francisco 49ers with the Cowboys, Lions, Bucks, Eagles, Rams, and Packers rounding out the NFC. So before we jump into our predictions, should we look back at our preseason predictions?
Yeah,
I don't know if we should do ourselves like that.
Let's take a look at them.
We're obviously not going to go through all of them because that would take forever. But our Super Bowl predictions were Nick, you had Jags 49ers. Weave, you had Bengals 49ers, and I had Bengals Eagles. And so none of those
the ideal Super Bowl. Any of those three, actually.
But all of the AFC teams that we said did not make it. And Joel had Jets 49ers.
That was terrible.
That ended after week 1.
Yeah, that ended after the Jets' first drive of the year.
The Jags were well, actually, no, never mind. I won't say that because I think we're going to get to that later on. Evan, edit this out real quick. But so we're doing playoff predictions now, and then I'm going to study, and you guys are going to talk about the recap. And then when I come back, are we continuing with like the coaching and then like the biggest surprises?
Well, how long are you going to be gone?
Until 9:30.
It's probably going to be done by that point.
I mean, I'm not doing anything for.
I have class. I have class tomorrow. So
okay, we're only talking about those 2 things though. So
all right, that's fine. We'll do whatever.
I mean, we can stop after this and resume at like 10.
That's
I wasn't sure. I thought that was what you said last night. I don't know. I must have misunderstood you. We can do it.
We can.
We'll see how much we can get done before 7. And then we'll go for
Yeah. All right. Anyways, continue.
But yeah, so our AFC predictions were bad, but NFC we had 49ers and Eagles, so still alive there.
Yeah. But
I did say that was the worst playoff predictions ever.
Yeah, I think this is the worst year that we've done. This is like definitely the worst year that we've done.
This is also the most like wild card year though. Like
This year has been the worst season of football at college and NFL level that I have ever seen in my life. So it only makes sense that our predictions were wrong and Nick's were correct for the most part this year.
Yeah, because that's how that works.
Roles reverse.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, speaking of college football, Nick Saban just retired like literally 2 minutes before we started recording this. So
yeah, that's wild.
Shocker.
I mean, I'm not totally shocked by it. I thought it would be coming at some point in the near future just because he's like in his mid to late 60s, but also just because of the way college football is nowadays. Like college football has completely changed. It's basically not even college football, honestly. It's pretty much just a minor league. So I don't think that fits a lot of like Nick Saban and like a lot of the old fashioned legend coaches of college football. I don't think it fits. It doesn't fit that because it's just a minor league now.
Yeah. Did you say Alabama's eyeing Dan Lanning?
I know. I was just going to say that. That's who we said for Ohio State, Evan.
Yeah.
So Alabama's looking after Dan Lanning?
Yeah.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Lane Kiffin's in there as well.
Yeah.
I kind of want Ohio State to go after
Ohio State's not moving on from Ryan Day, and they shouldn't right now. But, I mean, Well, I mean, listen.
The
We'll
conversation.
see. We'll see what happens after this year.
The
We'll
conversation.
see how this
is
next
in
year
there.
goes.
But yeah, I just thought we should talk about that because it's pretty big news.
In
It's
the
massive
football
news.
world.
It is. And we'll talk about all the other coaches in the NFL that have gotten fired later. All right. Do we want to start with AFC or NFC?
AFC.
We'll do AFC because that's first in terms of schedule as well.
And in terms of alphabet.
We're doing wild card round in total and then divisional round?
Yes.
Then, okay, just making sure.
All right. Starting off, first game in the wild card on Saturday, we got the Browns at Houston Texans. Texans clinched their division in the game against the Colts on this past weekend. And yeah, this should be a good fun matchup. CJ Stroud is probably leader for the offensive player of the year, I would assume, him and Puka. And then the Browns, who have been really beat up and are led by Joe Flacco, who's their fourth string quarterback. Who you guys got? Browns, Texans.
Well, I'll kick us off. I have a team that I want to pick, and then I have a team that I think is probably going to win. So I'll just get to the pick, though. I'm going to probably have to take the Browns here. I think the Texans have done great things this year. CJ Stroud has been at a next level. He's been he has been like one of the best rookie, if not the best rookie quarterback that we've seen in like recent-ish history, honestly. He's been really good. The Texans are hot right now. Not having Tank Dell hurts a little bit, though. But I just think the Browns, I mean, I think, honestly, the sole reason that I'm picking the Browns here is, well, there might be two reasons. Reason one, the Browns are much better in the trenches. The Browns are known for tough, hard-nosed, physical football. They run the ball, and their defensive line is immaculate. So I think that right there is a recipe to win a lot of games in and of itself. But reason number two is the AFC North as a whole has completely owned the South all season. And however good the Texans are, I just don't know if I see a Browns team that went 11-6 in the AFC North losing to a 10-7 or 9-8 Texans team out of the AFC South, you know. So I'll take the Browns.
I think this is obviously a rematch of a game that happened a few weeks ago. The Browns, I think they won by 14, but they were dominating Houston. It was like 36-7 at one point.
CJ Stroud didn't play in that game.
Yeah, so I was getting to that. CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, and Blake Cashman did not play for Houston in that game. Although I think the Browns were also missing Grant Delpit and a couple other guys that are going to play. So it is going to be a different football game than what happened a few weeks ago. However, I am also going to take the Browns in this game. The big thing for me is even though the Colts lost against Houston on Saturday, they did whatever they wanted to on the ground. Jonathan Taylor had 188 yards and a touchdown on the ground. They could not stop him all game. And the Browns have a better offensive line and a quarterback who loves to hand the ball off and kills people in play action in Joe Flacco. And I think the mantra for the Browns this season is next man up. Like, they've been the most injured team in football. They've won games with 4 different starting quarterbacks. Kevin Stefanski's probably going to win Coach of the Year. It's been nothing short of incredible what this Cleveland team is doing. And like you said, Zach, I think just Cleveland's much better in the trenches, both offensive and defensive sides of the football. I think it's going to be a grinded out type of game. I think the Browns will get ahead early and kind of just have their foot on Houston's neck and take them out in the fourth quarter with a big play or two. So I'm going to take Cleveland to win this game. Nothing short of what Houston's done this year. Obviously, incredible year for CJ Stroud, DeMeco Ryans and company. But I'm going to take the Browns.
I will also note, though, that I do think it will be a good game. I think
it's not going to be a blowout. like it was a few weeks ago. No chance.
Yeah.
But
This is one of the games I'm most looking forward to. Just because I think, like you both said, I think it's going to be a really great game. 4 or 5 seeds, always a good game for the most part. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Browns as well. I think just to kind of piggyback off Nick, this game is going to be who wins the trenches, and that's going to go to the Browns, just of their offensive line, who is one of the best in the league, and then that rushing attack, and obviously that defensive line with Myles Garrett, who's always a defensive player of the year conversation. And then they're getting Grant Delpit back, and that secondary has been really good this year against obviously like high passing teams. And so I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Browns are going to probably own time of possession, I would assume, just because the Texans really aren't built on running the ball a whole lot. They do like to run the ball, but they're best when CJ Stroud's making plays and throwing the ball out. So I think the Browns are going to try to keep Stroud off of the field as much as possible. And I think that's going to basically be why they end up winning. But like you said, Nick, the Texans were not supposed to be here. So it's a overachieving season for them, great season for them, great building block for this young team. That's going to be very exciting to watch in the next couple of years. But as it stands right now with veteran quarterback and Joe Flacco and that team that they had there up in Cleveland, I think it's going to be pretty rough for them to get past them. So I'm going to go.
We are in unison with our first pick.
yeah, I also think that the Browns are going to be able to take Nico Collins out of the game a lot better than Indianapolis is going to be able to because of their secondary. Their secondary is one of the best in football with Martin Emerson, Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit. So I think that's another big factor because outside of Nico Collins, the Texans didn't really do much through the air on Saturday.
Yeah,
I mean,
like Zach said, with no take. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You really only have Nico.
But it'll be a good game, nonetheless. This is one of the games that I am looking forward to. I think I don't know. There's probably maybe 3 games that I think are really going to be good that I'm looking forward to. But outside of that, it's kind of just like whatever, you know.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the last game on Saturday. We got Dolphins at Chiefs. This one's on Peacock. That's going to make a lot
This
of
is
plays.
the second game that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. This game is obviously in Arrowhead. It is projected to be -5 degrees, and very cold and very windy. So yeah, that's probably going to play a factor on the students.
Yeah, so I think the Chiefs are honestly not that good this year. They have underperformed all season. Their receiver room is the worst in the NFL. I think I would probably say. I'm pretty sure they still lead the league in drops. Travis Kelce has kind of just not showed up this year. I don't really know why. Broke his 1,000-yard streak. I don't know. The Chiefs. Well, I will say the Chiefs. This is the best defense Patrick Mahomes has ever played with. But the Chiefs really haven't been there this year. The Dolphins have been extremely good this year. Yeah, I mean Tyreek Hill has had a historical receiver season and is an MVP candidate. Tua has been a very great quarterback. I mean, the Dolphins have been a very, very good team, a very fun team to watch. They've put up a lot of offensive numbers. However, they have only beaten one good team the whole year. Now that one good team they beat was the Cowboys, and so that's a really good win for the Dolphins. But I mean, it just seems every time they play a good team, the ball just doesn't roll their way. It's always been close, but it's just they haven't been able to pull it out. With them going to Arrowhead, playing in -degree weather, this is actually a really tough pick. I think I think that. Oh gosh, dude. This is tough. Who would they play next round? Give me 1 second.
All right, I'm gonna make my pick for this game while he does his thing. I think that if this game was played in Miami, I would take the Chiefs not the Chiefs. I would take the Dolphins by 2 touchdowns. But
All right, I have my pick in.
Because it is being played in Arrowhead with as cold as it's going to be one of the coldest games in NFL history.
It's the coldest game in Arrowhead.
Yeah. I understand that the Chiefs receivers are not like great, obviously. And I understand that they've been very inconsistent as a team this year. I think Miami hasn't been playing great as of late either. Like, they had a 3-game lead in the division with 5 games left and they blew it. I think that is signifying of a larger issue at hand with this Dolphins team. And I don't see Patrick Mahomes losing at Arrowhead. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs in a lower scoring nail biter kind of game to shock a few people and take out Miami.
Yeah, the bigger issue at hand, I think, also was last year too, because this is the same as they were last year. I mean,
last year Tua was hurt.
They're better this year, but it was still kind of the same story. They couldn't beat good teams. I don't know why, but they have a great team. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to take the Chiefs here as well. I don't see them losing in negative degree weather, especially since the Dolphins are from Miami.
Yeah. I'm also going to go with the Chiefs as well, just mainly for the simple point that it's tough to win in Arrowhead as it is, and it's tough to win in Arrowhead when it's -5 degrees when you're used to playing in 80-degree weather.
I wish this was in Miami. If this was in Miami, I would take the Dolphins.
Yeah, but they ended up losing the division that last game. So
yeah, that was terrible.
But the Dolphins also are 4-4 on the road this year, so they're at 500, which isn't bad. But I think it's Patrick Mahomes. It's tough for him to lose an Arrowhead, and I think the play that we've seen from the Dolphins recently, like Nick mentioned, hasn't been what we saw beginning of the year when we were like, "Oh, these guys are putting up 60 points a game. Like, these guys are really good." Like, we've seen Tua make a lot of mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes in that Bills game, and I think. I'm assuming is Waddle's playing. I'm assuming, right? Because he didn't play last week. I think actually no. Him and Mostert were limited in practice today, so I'm assuming they're still going to play. That would be my guess. But I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than people think, and I think the Dolphins are probably going to try to run the ball a lot. But on the other side, you have the best run interior defender in the league in Chris Jones. And so I think it's going to be tough for Miami to really click on offense as well as they should. Plus, on defense, they lost Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, a couple other guys in there. So they're a little bit banged up on the defensive end. And I think the biggest part for me is they're not going to admit this, but the biggest part, I think, is playing in that weather down there. Because I think I read something there, like, they have a losing record when the Dolphins play in below 40-degree weather.
I think they're 0-10 all time.
Yeah.
When they play in like sub-0 degree temperatures.
Yeah. So, which, I mean, I don't blame them. It's tough playing. But like when you're used to playing in Miami, where it's like 70 degrees all the time, going to -5 is a big shock. So, I mean, Tyreek will be fine because he played in Kansas City. So that'll be a good narrative him versus the Chiefs. But I think they'll fall short, and I think Patrick Mahomes will win. We'll win this one. All right, moving on to Sunday slate. First game, we got the Steelers at Bills with no TJ Watt.
Yeah, this really shouldn't take long to discuss. The Steelers are a very, very, very bad football team. The Bills are going to win this game by a wide margin.
Yeah, I don't think this is as great of a matchup for the Bills as a lot of people say it is. I think if TJ Watt was playing, this game could be sneaky close, but TJ Watt is not playing, and the Steelers are one of the worst football teams to make the playoffs in recent memory.
They're a bad team in general.
I don't see Pittsburgh winning this game. One team has Josh Allen and Stephon.
The other has Mason Rudolph.
The other has Mason Rudolph and no TJ Watt. So
George
Yeah.
Pickens.
Yeah, George Pickens has had a good year this year. Like unironically, he's had a
Yeah, but they aren't
good
winning this
year.
game.
But I think Buffalo is going to win this game by a couple scores. Although we said this when they played Miami last year, and that somehow ended up being a 3-point game. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Bills as well. I think without TJ Watt, it's going to be tough for the Steelers to really do much on defense. I think the Bills are starting to figure out. They're starting to become a complete team. James Cook has had a phenomenal season. Josh Allen has been good outside of the turnovers, obviously. They still need to probably click a little bit more with Stephon Diggs. He's gone quiet a little bit, but I think the Bills are starting to click coming off a big division win against the Dolphins. And the Steelers, like you guys said, they do not really deserve to be in the playoffs. I could not tell you how they're in the playoffs, but with no TJ Watt, there's really not much hope. They're probably going to keep it close for the first 3 quarters because Josh Allen will throw some passes where you're like, dude, what the heck are you doing? And then the fourth quarter, he'll go crazy, and you'll think he's like the best quarterback in the league. Which is the usual Josh Allen experience. But I think the Bills are hot right now. They're one of the teams to beat in the AFC, and I don't think the Steelers are going to be the one to knock them off. Plus, I don't think Mason Rudolph is going to like have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's
Mason Rudolph
not
is
happening.
just awful.
Plus, I'm assuming it's probably going to be cold in Buffalo, but it's also cold in Pittsburgh. So, all right, this one should be one of the more fun games. Wait. We're done with the AFC, right?
Yeah, AFC's done.
So, we want to go divisional round, right?
No, do the NFC wild card, and then we'll just do divisional at once, and then conference championship at once.
Go by round.
Gotcha. All right, Packers at Cowboys.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty good game. I'm going to have to give the edge to the Cowboys here. I just don't know if the Packers are quite this good yet. But I do think this is going to be a good game, though. And especially with it being at Dallas, the Cowboys this year have been phenomenal at home. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take the Packers or the Cowboys here.
Yeah, I actually think this is going to be the best game of the wild card round. I think both of these teams are really good this year. I think Jordan Love is playing at a very high level, especially for it being his first year in the league. The Packers have won 6 of their last 8. They clinched a playoff spot with a win over Chicago.
Did you say this is Jordan Love's first year in the league?
I said this first year starting because it is. But yeah, I mean the Packers have been really riding high since Thanksgiving. I think they're a good football team and they're ahead of schedule. I just think that they drew a not great matchup in the Cowboys. 2 historic teams going head to head, but Dallas has been almost unstoppable at home this season. They've got all the pieces they need to make a deep playoff run. And I think that they will get it done when it matters against the Packers. So I'm going to take the Cowboys to win a close game at home.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game as well. But I think the offense for the Cowboys, like you said, Nick, since Thanksgiving has been just clicking. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott are on another level right now. CeeDee Lamb finished with a great season, and Dak Prescott has been feeding him a lot. And so I think with this being at home in Dallas, I think Dallas is going to take the edge here. I think the Packers are going to put up a fight for first half, and then I think the Cowboys start to pull away. But yeah, the Packers, I mean, they're ahead of schedule. Jordan Love looked really good down the stretch there. Like you said, Nick, they won 6 of their last 8?
6 of their last 8, yep.
Yeah. So he's been looking good. But my biggest concern is their defense. Their defense has not been great this year, and against the Cowboys' high-powered offense with guys like I said, CeeDee Lamb, Dak, Tony Pollard is on an off year, but he's still a threat.
Michael Gallup, Brandon
Jake
Cooks.
Ferguson, Gav, yeah, all those guys. I think it's going to be tough for the defense to get many stops, and obviously Dallas' defense has been pretty good so far with Michael Parsons, Stephon Gilmore, all those guys. So we're going to give the edge to Dallas, but I think the Packers will give them a run for their money the first half, and Dallas started pulling away. But yeah, it sucks for the Packers. They got screwed with the seedings. But all right, this is another one where I'm really looking forward to. Rams at Lions, the Matthew Stafford homecoming game.
Jared Goff.
Yeah,
Game.
this right here was the third of the games that I was thinking of earlier. This is going to be a great game. The Rams have been hot recently. I really like what they're doing this year with Kyron Williams and Puka. They've been playing at a very high level the past couple weeks. But the Lions have played at a high level all season, despite a couple of lows they had. But overall, it's been a great season. And this is going to be a really, really hard one for me to pick. I think this is going to be a very good game. It's going to be a close game. I just don't know if I see the Rams beating the Lions this year, especially at Ford Field just right now. So I'm going to go with the Lions.
All right. Finally, we differ in opinion. The Rams, I have been the most impressed with Matthew Stafford this year that I've been his entire career. What he has done this year with no Cooper Kupp, and obviously Puka Nacua has helped a whole lot with that. But what he has done this season when I've watched him play has been nothing short of incredible. Obviously he missed a few games with a hand injury, but he still threw for almost 4,000 yards. Only 24 touchdowns to 11 picks. But when you watch Matthew Stafford play, he's playing like prime Detroit Matthew Stafford. And the big thing with the Lions these past couple weeks is they cannot cover a wide receiver one to save their life. It seems like whoever they play, the other team's best receiver is going to go for 150 yards and a touchdown, guaranteed. Justin Jefferson twice, CeeDee Lamb. And now you're playing a team with two wide receiver ones in Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And if you combine that with Sean McVay's entire purpose as a head coach is to find ways to get these guys open, as well as the Lions losing Sam Laporta due to injury for probably this entire postseason. I think it's been great for the Lions. I think they've had a great story, but one team has been here before, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. I think they've got the guys to win a game in a hostile environment like this, and I think that the Los Angeles Rams are going to go into Ford Field and pull this game out.
You know what? I didn't consider this enough. And
No. You already made your pick. No.
My pick is the Rams as well. It's because I didn't think about that, but the whole wide receiver one thing, because CeeDee Lamb egregiously tore them up very, very badly. And I didn't consider that and think about that at all. And with Puka and Cooper Kupp, it's going to be tough for him.
I say that you already made your pick and you have to stick with the Lions.
No, I'm taking the Rams here. I would rather see the Rams win anyways, but I just thought the Lions.
Why would you rather see the Rams win?
I like the Rams.
Over the Lions?
Yeah.
That's wild. All right, continue.
All right, well, that throws a wrench in my pick then, because I thought I was going to be on the same, but screw it. I'll be different. I'll have the line. I got the Lions winning. First game at Ford Field. Fans are going to be hyped. The Lions Twitter already said if you wear a Matthew Stafford jersey, you're going to get bullied. We're banning Matthew Stafford jerseys for this week. We're providing duct tape, Sharpies, whatever you need, but you can't be seen wearing a Matthew Stafford jersey. So they're prepared. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff have been one of the best wide receiver quarterback duos this year. That running attack with Dave Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs is a great 1-2 punch. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, like you said, Nick. And the Rams' offense has been really good to close out the season with Puka, obviously, and Cooper Kupp, and Stafford's been playing in the elite level, and you got Kyron Williams as well. So I think this game could be really high-scoring. I can honestly see it going to I think it's going to be a 3-point game. I think it's going to go down to the final possession. But I think the Lions at home, Ford Field, crowd's going to be electric. Both teams want some revenge. Jared Goff obviously got traded from the Rams, and Stafford got traded from the Lions. So that'll be really fun to watch. But the Lions are one of the higher scoring teams in the league, and I think they're going to keep that up with their balanced rushing and passing attack. I think it's going to be a great game, high-scoring game, but I'm going to go with the Lions on this one.
The script writers
To
went
win their
crazy for this
first
game.
Yeah. I will be watching this game. As soon as week 18 was coming down and me and my dad were sitting there and we were like, okay, the 49ers cannot win this game. We have to see a Rams-Lions game in Ford Field in Wild Card Weekend. It has to happen. The narratives surrounding this game are going to be some of the best we have ever seen at this level at the NFL, and I cannot wait to see it unfold.
It's going to be a good one. All right, last wild card game, we got the Eagles in Tampa against the Buccaneers.
I think this might be a better game than what people think. The Eagles have been horrible of recent, and the Buccaneers are not that bad. But I'm going to take the Eagles. They are still the better team.
Are they the better team
Yes.
as of late?
Yes. I mean, they've been horrible, but they are the better team.
I'm taking Tampa Bay in this game. This Eagles team reminds me a lot of the 2020 Steelers, where they got out to an early, like a 10-0, 11-0 start, and then just crumbled down the stretch due to poor secondary play. This Eagles team is grasping for any sort of validation or stability. Jalen Hurts is banged up. Their secondary is awful. A.J. Brown went down with an injury. I think the injury bug is kind of biting Tampa Bay at the worst time, too, with Baker Mayfield and stuff. But I don't trust the Eagles as far as I can throw them. They very well could win this game, but I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay in this one.
I will not be flipping picks here. I'm staying with the Eagles.
Dang it, Nick, you stole my hot take. Yeah, I was hoping I was going to be the only one going with the Bucs.
Dang, all right. So I guess I was out there picking the Eagles.
But yeah, I'm going with the Bucs. They're winners. What is it? 1, 2, 6 of their last 7. Rashad White has been really good as of recently. Baker Mayfield's had one of his best years. That defense is still pretty solid. Their secondaries go with Antoine Winfield and all those guys. And then you got Mike Evans, who had a good year. And this, like you said, Nick, this Eagles team has dropped 3 of their last 4, all 3 of those being very winnable games. A.J. Brown is questionable. Devontae Smith is questionable. The secondary has been bad. They really just haven't clicked recently. They're really gasping for momentum, and they haven't found it. I mean, they literally played majority of their starters against the Giants and lost by 17 points. So I think they're scrambling right now for any sort of momentum, and I think in Tampa, I think Baker Mayfield's gonna put an end to their season. It's gonna be disappointing. I think they'll probably fire Sirianni out of just pure disappointment.
Yeah, they're absolutely not going to do that.
Philadelphia. And yeah, I think it's going to be pandemonium.
I mean, this team has lost 5 of their last 6, including a blowout to the Niners, a blowout to the Cowboys, and then 3 losses against non-playoff teams.
Yeah.
Like their one win since like early December was a game against the Giants on Christmas Day where they had to hang on to win.
They won by 8.
They won by 8. Yeah.
Yeah, they've lost 5 out of their last 6. And they put
They
up
are-
30 points. They put up 20 or more points twice.
They are
in those
struggling
games.
right now.
Yeah, they're struggling. All right. Well, that concludes the wild card round. Let's move on to the divisional round. So, what do we got? So, we got Ravens versus
I have Ravens Browns. Do we all have Ravens Browns?
We all have Ravens Browns.
All right. And then the other game is Chiefs Bills.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Ravens Browns. In
Okay, so
Baltimore.
Ravens Browns.
Let's have Evan go first because he went last throughout the wild card round.
All right.
Let's reverse order through the divisional round.
This game is going to be real fun. Real fun. AFC North battle, always a good game. You got one team who has been looking like one of the best teams in the NFL this year, probably has the MVP and Lamar Jackson. The defense has been probably the best in the league as well. Then you got another team who has been hit with the injury bug like no other team has, but is riding high on their 4th-string quarterback, Joe Flacco, who, by the way, is a Baltimore Ravens legend. I think this game is going to be a phenomenal game. I think if there's any team to beat the Ravens, I think it would be the Browns. But I think the Ravens are just too good right now. They're on too much of a hot streak. I think they're going to beat the Browns. But I think it's going to be a very grinded out game. I think Lamar Jackson is going to have to prove to the whole world that he can win playoff games. And I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think the Ravens are going to edge it out. That defense is phenomenal with guys like Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith in the middle. Then you got that secondary with Marlon Humphrey, Geno Stone, all those guys. They've been locked down this whole year. And that offense with Lamar, obviously, he's probably going to win MVP. And then you got guys like Zay Flowers, Gus Edwards, all those guys. I think it's going to be a great game, but I'm going to give the edge to Baltimore. They're going to go on to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, this Ravens team, like you said, they've got the MVP in Lamar Jackson. I think we're all kind of waiting for this Joe Flacco Linsanity run to come to an end. There's no way he can win 4 straight playoff games with Cleveland, right? Surely. And this is going to be the best defense he's going to play. It's going to be peak AFC North football from beginning to end, hard-nosed, grinded out. These two teams hate each other, obviously. But I think one team has the MVP in Lamar Jackson and the other team is banged up, and I think that's going to be the difference in the game. I think the Ravens will win a close one at home.
All right. Everyone's going to hate me for this pick, so you just go ahead and run it up. I think the Browns are the only team that can beat the Ravens, and they did it earlier in the year already in a close, tough, grinded-out fashion. Was that before they had Flacco even?
Yes, that was before they had Flacco.
Yeah, so they
They still have Deshaun Watson as their quarterback.
Yeah. So this is going to be a really good game. I really think that this is going to be a heck of a game. Like both of you guys hit on, this is going to be AFC North football. 2 real tough, hard-nosed teams are going to be going at it here. It's probably going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be a slugfest. And I think the Browns – I don't think the Browns are the better team, but I think that I think it's a good matchup for the Ravens. I think they're the only team that can beat them, and they did it without Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's been on a tear. I don't know if I see the end. I don't know if I see that run ending right here. So I'm going to take the Browns.
That would be crazy. If that ended up happening, that would be wild.
That game is more than likely going to happen.
If this game happens, Weaver, you're going to be vomiting in your mouth.
That game is
You are going to be
Joe Flacco. goes into Baltimore, beats
That
Lamar
would be
Jackson
crazy.
with the Browns. That would be
Oh, that would be a phenomenal story. You guys talk about stories. That would be a good one right there. The history between both of these franchises is already really close because the Ravens used to be the Browns. The Browns moved to Baltimore, became the Ravens, and then the NFL restarted the Browns franchise in Cleveland, right? So this Ravens franchise used to be the Browns when the Browns were good. So they're already tied together and hate each other because of that. Now, let alone the Ravens Super Bowl quarterback, Joe Flacco, playing on this Browns team.
Yeah, and this is also by far the Ravens' best opportunity to win something with Lamar Jackson. No, it's not even.
It definitely is, but this is also by far the Browns' best opportunity that we've seen in recent years.
Yeah.
Actually, since like the 80s.
Yeah, this is probably
the Browns are a good team this year, and this is going to be a heck of a game. And I think that, like I said, I don't necessarily think the Browns are the better team than the Ravens, but it's a matchup thing. And I think the Browns match up with them, and I think they've already beat them without Joe Flacco.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting game.
Very good game.
The storylines in the playoffs are just going crazy. The
script writers, man. They're getting it this year. What a terrible year they wrote, but some good stories in the playoffs, I guess.
What a terrible year they wrote.
Yeah, they're saving themselves in the playoffs. All right, next divisional game, we got Kansas City at Buffalo. I think this game is going to be a really good game. It's these teams have met multiple times in the playoffs. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. It's always been a good game. But I think this is the year the Bills get it done. I think the Bills are going to beat the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, like we said, are beatable. Yes, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs is great, but the Bills have just been on a tear lately. They got a lot of momentum. This has been Patrick Mahomes' worst season probably since he's been in the NFL. And I think the drops in the wide receiver room and the offensive line and all that stuff's going to come to bite him here against a spirited Buffalo team that's playing their best football. Josh Allen, I think, is going to prove to people that he is a playoff winning quarterback because the last couple of years he's kind of been not great in these types of games. He had played pretty bad against the Bengals and was obviously lost to Mahomes the year prior. So I think he's going to finally get on top. He hasn't beaten Mahomes in the playoffs yet, right?
Nope. He should have in 2021.
Overtime one. And
the coin toss.
Yeah. So I think he's finally going to get it done. I think he's going to have a good game. I think that rushing attack is going to really be the difference maker because Kansas City, yes, they have a great defense, good run defense. But I think that the balance that the Bills have now has been the missing piece for them. And I think that balance is going to be a key reason why they end up winning this game. I think Stephon Diggs is going to come back to peak form. And I think the Bills are going to get it done and send the Chiefs home packing early.
Yeah. This is my hot take of the entire playoffs. If this game happens, the Bills are going to blow the brakes off of Kansas City. I don't think this game will be close at all. If this happens.
They just beat Kansas City.
Yeah, they beat Kansas City in Arrowhead when they didn't have a running game. Now you go to Buffalo, those fans are going to be rabid. Those fans are going to be out for blood. And I think every single player on that Bills organization knows it. They know Kansas City is vulnerable. We'll touch on this in a minute, but the Bills, the most impressive thing to Buffalo for me has been their balance. They've won games without Josh Allen needing to be superhuman throughout this back half of the year. And I think that is the biggest factor in this game. They're going to keep this Chiefs defense on their toes. Patrick Mahomes is going to have to play a near perfect game to keep them in it, and I don't think he's going to. I think the Bills will win this one handily and conquer their demons a little bit of some sort in Kansas City. So I'm going to take Buffalo.
Yeah, this is one that we're all going to agree on. I'm taking the Bills, and I'm kind of like Nick. This isn't a particularly hard choice. I don't think they're going to blow the brakes off them, but I also don't really think it's going to be that close of a game. The Bills are definitely the better team this year. Their run game was the missing piece. They've got that fixed. Josh Allen has been playing really well recently. He had a rough stretch. He's still very turnover prone, but overall he's still playing very good football right now. I think this is going to finally be the year where they get it done against the Chiefs, and I don't think it's going to be a particularly nail biting game either.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs run ends here.
For 1 year. We'll see what happens in the
For
next
1
year.
year. It'll probably
For
be
1
like the Warriors where they missed it 1 year and they came back the next year.
Yeah.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, but there's serious issues in Kansas City
Oh, for sure.
that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, their wide receiver room is freaking terrible.
Rasheed Rice is good, but other than that,
And their offensive line hasn't been great either.
I mean, their defense has been really good. I don't know
Defense
what
is
the heck's been up with Kelsey this year either.
It's been Taylor Swift, man.
Taylor Swift, man.
First year he didn't have 1,000 yards.
Taylor Swift.
So, but I think it's going to be a great game. And so, going to set up for me and Nick, a Ravens
Bills.
AFC Championship, and Weaver's got the Browns and the Bills.
Bills and Browns.
Weaver, you can go first since you are
We're doing NFC.
Oh, yeah. We can do NFC. Yeah.
This one, I don't have as much to say.
So NFC.
I think we all have different NFC divisional games.
Yeah, we do. We mixed it up.
I have the same one as you, Nick.
You have Bucks, Cowboys,
So
and
NFC.
Rams, Niners.
Oh, no, because I have – wait, okay, so I have Rams,
I think you have
Niners.
Rams, Niners, and
You
Eagles,
have-
Cowboys.
Cowboys, Eagles. That's what I
Yeah.
got.
And then I have the Niners and the
Bucks. It'd be Niners,
Yes.
Bucks, Rams, Cowboys for you.
Rams. Cowboys.
No. Lions, Cowboys. I lied.
Yes. Okay. Niners, Bucks, Cowboys, Lions. First off, Niners, Bucks. Niners are going to smoke them. It's not going to be much of a game. The Niners are really freaking good. Christian McCaffrey is playing at MVP level. Brock Purdy's been playing pretty well this year as well. He's had a great season. You still have guys like Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, who both been phenomenal this year on the defensive end. You still have Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, all those guys on defense. Kyle Shanahan. This game's not going to be much of a contest. The Bucs are going to be on a more moral high after upsetting the Eagles, but we know that this 49ers team is great, and they've showed it plenty of times against good teams, and I think they're going to hand it to the Bucs. Do I go with my next one?
Yeah, we all have different,
well.
so just do both of them.
Okay. Then I got Cowboys at home against the Lions. I think this is where the Lions run ends. The Cowboys playing at home, I think, is huge. Them locking up that 2 seed is huge for them. But I think their offense is going to be really, like Nick said when he was talking about the Rams game, they can't cover wide receiver once. And we've already seen it before. CeeDee Lamb has put them in a blender. And I think he's going to do that again. Dak Prescott's going to find them. And I think it's going to be a good game, but I think the I think the Cowboys are going to win by, I'd say, 2 scores. But I think just because of that offense, just how great that offense has been, plus them being at home.
I mean, the
So
Lions.
my NFC championship is Cowboys 49ers.
The Lions did a pretty good job of shutting their offense down outside of CeeDee Lamb when they played a few weeks ago.
That is
The
true.
Lions should have beat them. If we're being full on honest.
Sam Laporta.
Yeah, they did also have Sam Laporta.
It'll be a good game.
My divisional games are Bucks, Cowboys, and Rams 49ers. I'm going to make this short and sweet. I don't think either of these games are going to be particularly close. On the Bucks Cowboys side of things, it's the Cowboys are just a better football team, top to bottom. So I think Dallas will win that game by 3 touchdowns, if I were to say. And then on the Rams-Niners side of things, I think it's more to do with the 49ers being that good in terms of, except for the Rams' ability. And I don't trust the Rams' defense to cover an offense like the 49ers are going to have. I think the 49ers will win by, I'd say, 10, 14 points. And I will also have a 49ers-Cowboys NFC Championship game. And that makes me sick because the Cowboys NFC Championship game drought is probably going to end this year.
All right. Well, I had the 49ers against the Rams, so I'll start with that one. I think that one will actually be a solid game. I think the Rams have been really hot recently. I've really enjoyed watching them play. But the 49ers kind of just seem like they're that team this year. I don't think anybody's beating the 49ers right now. So I'm going to take the Niners over the Rams, especially at home. And then my next game was the Cowboys and the Eagles. So a divisional rematch for the third time this year. And yeah, I think the Eagles are just kind of in shambles right now. So the Cowboys are unfortunately going to probably go to the NFC Championship. So I guess we all
series on that game. Eagles Cowboys, is it 1-1?
It's 1-1.
Although the Eagles,
but the first time they played each other was like when the Philadelphia Eagles were actually good this year.
The Eagles also barely beat the Cowboys, and then when they came to Dallas, the Cowboys blew the brakes off them.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
So I got
Cowboys.
Yeah, I've got Niners Cowboys
3 times. So we all have Niners Cowboys.
We all have Niners Cowboys.
And then AFC we have the Bills and the Ravens.
And I had the Bills and the Browns. So are we starting the championship round now?
Yeah, we'll do conference.
Yeah. We'll start with you for the AFC. We've are different.
All right. So AFC championship this year, I've got the number 5 seeded Browns heading to the 2 seeded Buffalo Bills. So I think this will be a good game as well, solely because of the fact of how the Browns do things. I think their offense and their defense, it's suited for games like this because they run the ball so well that they handle the trenches so well that they can kind of keep Josh Allen off the field as long as they can handle the trenches and move the ball. So I think it'll be a little bit lower scoring of a game, and it'll be a good game. The Browns have a chance here, but I honestly think the Bills are hot right now. And I said this from the last, I don't even know, 3 or 4 weeks. I've been saying if the Bills can sneak into the playoffs, they're going to make some noise. And they did not sneak in. They won the division, and they're going to make some noise. So I'm going to take the Bills in the Super Bowl this year, beating the Browns.
Evan, I'm gonna have you go first.
Okay.
On this one.
So I have the Bills, the 2-seeded Bills. Sorry. The 1-seeded Ravens facing the 2-seeded Bills in Baltimore. I think this game's going to be. This is a real tough one. I don't really know who I'm going to go with.
You know what you have to do, Evan. Because you know what Nick's going to do, so don't do it, Evan.
I know, but man, all right, screw it. I'll do it. I think the Bills' Achilles heel since Josh Allen has been there has been Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Oh,
and this time they stomped the snake, and I think they're going to carry that into Baltimore and upset the 1-seeded Ravens. The Ravens are probably by far the favorites of the AFC, but I think my playoff X factor on defense for the Bills is Ed Oliver. I think if Ed Oliver can dominate the line of scrimmage like he has the last couple of weeks, put pressure on the quarterback, stuff the run, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for quarterbacks to move around, obviously, but Lamar is the best at that. But I think coming off of a big big win against the Chiefs, an emotional high, and then I'm expecting, and for them to win, I'm expecting Ed Oliver to play a really great game, and then obviously Josh Allen. I think it's going to be probably a lower scoring game, just because you got the Bills' high-powered offense against the Ravens' really good defense, and then the Bills' pretty good defense against the Ravens' offense, who they put up points, but sometimes they can sputter. So, but I'm going to go with the Bills here. The Bills are finally going to make it back to the Super Bowl, and yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. But I'm going against Vegas, and I'm having the Ravens lose in the AFC Championship to the Bills in a close one.
Yes, sir. Let's go, Buffalo.
This game is a true 50-50 for me.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
This is tough. I made you go first, Evan, for a couple reasons. One, I can truly see ways in which both teams can win this game. I'll start with the Bills. I said earlier that the Bills' most impressive thing to me the second half of the season is the fact that they can win games without Josh Allen being a superhero. They've got a running game for the first time in the Josh Allen era. And they've got a pass rush, really, for the first time in the Josh Allen era. And Sean McDermott is a really good head coach. However, Josh Allen is still very mistake-prone. And if there's one team in the NFL that forces you to make mistakes and capitalizes off of those mistakes, it's the Baltimore Ravens. I think that, Lamar Jackson's going to win MVP this year, deservedly so. And this Ravens team, they really impressed me with that win in San Francisco on Christmas Day. They just look like a complete football team. I initially had Buffalo winning this game, but I'm going to switch it. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens. It's probably the smart selection here.
It's a safer pick.
Yeah, I think both these quarterbacks are going to view this as an opportunity to forge their own legacy, because I don't think the Chiefs are really going to be in there this year. Although I will say this, if the Chiefs make it back to the Super Bowl this year, the rest of the AFC just needs to fold and pack it up for the next about 10 years. Because if they're gonna win the AFC this year, when are they not going to?
That's true.
If we're gonna be full on honest here.
Well, maybe when the rest of the quarterbacks in the AFC aren't injured.
Yeah, then it might be closer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the Ravens have been the best team since really Thanksgiving. Lamar Jackson's going to win his second MVP. He's going to get a gold jacket when he inevitably retires. I think that this will be the run that he needs to cement himself in NFL history. So I'm going to take the Ravens in this game.
Yeah, that's the same.
Yeah, Evan, aren't you glad you went the other way now?
If Evan picked Ravens, I was going to go with the Bills, because I don't want us to have the same exact bracket.
Yeah. I was really hoping you would go with the Browns, Weaver. That'd be hilarious.
No, I can't have the Browns in the Super. It very well could happen, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but I just think
this year the AFC. This is the most open the AFC has been.
Yeah, the Browns honestly could make it to the Super Bowl this year. They could, but I just think the Bills. I said that like several weeks ago. The Bills have been flaming hot. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah,
but
the Bills are going to go as far as Josh Allen can take them. If Josh Allen starts turning the ball over a lot, they're done.
Mm-hmm.
But if Josh Allen plays clean football like he has the last couple of weeks, then they have a legitimate shot of making it to the Super Bowl. But if he's turnover happy like he was
against Miami,
well, but if he can not make mistakes that kill the team, because against Miami they didn't really Tua was garbage as well, so his mistakes didn't really hurt them as much. But yeah, they're going to go as far.
You know what you're saying, though.
Yeah, if Josh Allen makes mistakes, they're not going to go very far. But if Josh Allen can play cleaner football and play the couple, showing us what he can do, like what he has in the past and what he has this year, I think that those are going to be tough to beat. But
They're on his shoulders.
But I very well can see them play the Ravens, and Josh Allen throws like 3 picks, and it gets ugly.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that too.
Because
But I don't even have
didn't
him playing the
Purdy
Ravens, so-
throw 4 picks against the Ravens?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 or 4. Either way.
It was 4.
That's my other thing too. It's like if Brock Purdy and the 49ers don't play like absolute crap, I think we see a lot closer of a game on Christmas Day.
But they did. I mean, if they didn't play like garbage, they did play like garbage. And they played like garbage because the Ravens forced them into pressure all game long. It's not like Brock Purdy was just missing reads. Half the balls were deflected because of the Ravens' defense. And
If the 49ers don't play like crap, we see a better game.
You could say that about literally any game in NFL history.
No, like you can't. My point is the Ravens are not – I don't think they're better than the 49ers. That's the point I'm making.
All right. NFC Championship game time. We all have the same.
So
Cowboys,
Niners,
49ers,
Cowboys.
in San Francisco.
Yeah. I just said I don't think the Ravens are better than the Niners. So I think the Niners are the best team in the NFL right now. I'm going to take them over the Cowboys.
All right. I'll go now. Niners, Cowboys. These teams played earlier in the year, and it was a beat down, for lack of a better term. I think that kind of woke the Cowboys up in terms of, hey, we can't just pretend that we're this like God destined team this year. Like there are other teams that are gonna challenge us. But I think the 49ers are a better football team than Dallas is. They have all pros once again at every position outside of quarterback. That is insane to think about. And also, Brandon Ayuk has emerged as a borderline wide receiver 1.
He's been stunned.
Christian McCaffrey's playing at an MVP level. He'll probably win Offensive Player of the Year, right?
He should.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill's missed some time, and he was the only guy really competing with him. Christian McCaffrey's had a career year. Brock Purdy's proven that he's not your normal Mr. Irrelevant.
System quarterback.
Yeah. Kyle Shanahan's one of the best head coaches in the NFL. At home, I'm going to take the 49ers in this game. I have both 1 seeds in the Super Bowl. That's really boring. But, you know.
I would go in line with how the NFL's been this year.
That's true.
Yeah, I think the 49ers are the best team in the NFL. I think this game will be a little bit closer than it was earlier, but the 49ers, they're just a juggernaut, man. Like you said, make all pros on offense all around. You got that defense is still really good. Kyle Shanahan is probably the best coach right now. Yeah, they're the only reason that they were not in the Super Bowl last year is because they literally didn't have a quarterback because Brock Purdy tore his UCL. So if that doesn't happen, I think they're definitely going to make it back, and I honestly think it's theirs to lose. I think they're just stacked right now, playing at a all-time level. There's so many weapons on that offense that it's really tough to stop them. So I'm gonna have them going to the Super Bowl to face the Bills. So me and Weaver, we both have Bills and 49ers.
Yep.
And Nick has Ravens 49ers, which is 2012?
Yeah. Rematch of the Blackout Bowl.
That was 2012, right?
I believe so, yes.
Look at that. Colin Kaepernick and Joe Flacco. I remember that game.
That was the Harbaugh Bowl, wasn't
It
it?
was the Harbaugh
It
Bowl.
was the Harbaugh Bowl.
Oh, man.
Super
All right, Nick,
Bowl time.
since you're different, You can start us off.
All right. So, if you watch the preseason predictions, you guys know that the 49ers were my Super Bowl pick before the season even started. And throughout the first month and a half of the season, it was looking like, oh, I nailed it. This team is not going to be touched by anyone. Then they had a few injuries, and then they lost to the Browns and the Bengals and the Vikings. And it's like, okay, is this team really as good as people say they are? They got healthy, and they've been on that train ever since, except for the team they're playing in this game. And that is the Baltimore Ravens, who have been, like I said, the best team since Thanksgiving. The question is, do I think that game was a fluke? I don't entirely think that game was a fluke. I think the Ravens can scheme up ways to frustrate Brock Purdy again. But Kyle Shanahan's one of the best coaches in the NFL at making adjustments, especially when he's facing a team that he's played once already that season. I think this will be a very, very great game. I think the narratives heading into the game are going to be, is Lamar Jackson going to truly, like, if he hasn't already cemented himself as a Hall of Famer with 2 MVPs, is he going to cement himself as a Hall of Famer by adding a Super Bowl onto his resume? And I don't think he's going to. I think that I'm going to stick with my preseason prediction of the 49ers finally getting it done with the team that they've assembled. And I think this is really their last year of being true, unstoppable juggernauts, with a lot of their players getting older and getting up there in age, and as far as contract disputes. I think they know that this is their final real roll of the dice. I think Kyle Shanahan, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, and company write their own legacies and get it done in Vegas.
Yeah. It's going to be a heck of a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Where is the Super Bowl this year?
In Vegas.
It's in Vegas. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm honestly shocked that you picked the Niners here. I've got the Bills and the Niners. This is going to be a really good game. And I'm sure that if this happens, we're going to be doing a podcast before that to discuss this in further detail and analyze it more. But I think that Ravens game was indeed a fluke. And I think that the Niners are just by far and away the best team in the NFL this year. The Bills, as hot as they are, I just don't know if they're going to be able to dethrone this Niners team. I think this Niners team is like I think this Niners team is kind of like the Rams team a few years ago, where it's like this team is going to win now, you know. So I'm going to take the Niners here in a very good and close game.
Yeah, I also have Bills for Rams. But I think, like both of you said, the 49ers are a juggernaut. And I think the Bills are still a couple pieces away from being that, like, real Super Bowl contending team. And I think, like I said before, is Josh Allen going to turn the ball over? And against a team like the 49ers, he very well could. But, I mean, like we mentioned, you got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey on offense. That's just on offense. And on defense, you got obviously Fred Warner.
I didn't say Nick Bosa, Chase Young, George Kittle,
Nick Bosa, Chase Young. Like, they're – I can't even count how many Pro Bowlers they have on that team. But they're a buzzsaw. And the only team that really stopped them recently was the Ravens. And so I'm assuming teams will probably start looking at that game, try to replicate that. But I think that game – I think the Ravens' defense is great, but I think the game was kind of a little fluky because Brock Purdy has never thrown 4 picks in the game. He's usually really good with the ball. And I just don't think that the Bills' defense is to the level as the Ravens' defense is. And so I think the 49ers are going to win this by probably 2 scores. So I'll have the 49ers winning.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't even think that's that
It's not
egregious, though.
It's not.
I
mean, going into the year, 3 of the 4 of us, including Joel, had the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I was the only one that didn't have them in the Super Bowl. I had the Eagles.
The Green Bay Packers in this one. Going from there, Lions, Rams. I think the Rams come out on top in this one. I think the Rams are the sneaky team that we continuously talk about day in, day out. I think they're going to come out on top in that one. I think it's going to be a very close game, though. Stafford coming back to Detroit, Goff playing against the team that traded him. I think there's going to be fireworks. I think this game could be a heavy scoring game as well. But I'm going to lean in this one with the Rams in a very close game by about 3. I'm going to go with about 3 points. And then finally, Tampa versus the Eagles. I'm going to go with Tampa. I think the Eagles have been spitting and sputtering. They haven't been able to stay consistent. And Tampa, don't get me wrong, these past couple games have been a little iffy, but I just think that the way Mike Evans is playing, Baker's played a lot better than a lot of us expected this year. And Rachaad White, I feel, is going to be able to play a crucial role in this game. I just think the Eagles right now are in a bad spot, and I just don't think they're going to have enough to get over that hump against Tampa in this one. So that sets up matchups of the 49ers versus the Rams and the Cowboys versus Tampa. Overall, 49ers versus Rams, I'm going to take 49ers. 49ers are in the NFC the best team, and it's plain and day to me. I think all around that they are the best team, that they're going to be able to go into this game at home against the Rams and take care of business. Don't get me wrong, the Rams, I feel like, have a very good chance of taking this game as well. They always seem to play the 49ers very well. But overall, I think the 49ers' firepower and offense in that stout defense is going to take care of business against the Rams. And then finally, Cowboys versus Tampa. I think the Cowboys, again at home, I think they take care of business and ultimately end up taking care of business. I think this could be a hefty scoring game too for the Cowboys being at home. The secondary for Tampa is very susceptible. So overall, I'm going to go with the Niners and the Cowboys. And with this game, I feel it's what we've been preparing for. The Cowboys and the Niners, 2 teams that have dominated. Offenses are dominant. Defensive side of the ball, they've both been dominant as well. I just feel in this one that the 49ers at home, they're going to take care of business. They've been able to take care of business against the Cowboys year after year. And with the likes of Christian McCaffrey being healthy, George Kittle, Debo, and Brandon Ayuk, I just feel it's going to be a little too much for the Cowboys. I think it could be a close game. Maybe it's field goal to a score game, but I'm going to go with the Niners. So that sets up the Niners versus Baltimore. And in this one, the rematch from about, I forget how long ago, but I'm going to go with the 49ers. I think the Niners, the writing was on the wall last year with them, with Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy didn't get hurt, I feel there was a very, very large chance that the 49ers were winning the Super Bowl. I feel pretty confident saying that, and I feel that this year going up against Baltimore, it's going to be a firepower on all ends, but I think they get the revenge that they need heading into from the Christmas night game that took place on the 25th, and I just think the 49ers come out on top, and my MVP for the game will be Christian McCaffrey. Otherwise, I'm going with 49ers versus Baltimore in the Super Bowl, with the 49ers taking care of business.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I think that the tiers in terms of teams are Super Bowl like juggernauts before the playoffs are the Ravens and 49ers. I think they're very, very clearly the 2 best teams. And then I think the Cowboys are on a tier by themselves right below them. And then after that, you've got like the Bills, the Browns,
Eagles,
Eagles maybe. I'd probably throw the Lions in there too.
Teams that could make noise.
Chiefs, Dolphins, stuff like that. Teams that could make noise, but are they real like threats in to win the Super Bowl? I don't think they are.
Yeah. Weaver, you got a reputation to uphold this year. You went pretty much perfect last year. See if you can do it
I
again.
know. This year's just a really bad year, so I'm expecting me to not do well this year. But yeah, I went 100% in the AFC last year, and then I missed 2 games in the NFC, I think. But I did have the Super Bowl. And wait, no. Did I have the Super Bowl? Okay. And then I also correctly predicted the Super Bowl MVP, and the score of the game within 1 point.
What did you say? You said what?
I said Chiefs, Eagles, Mahomes MVP, and then I said Chiefs.
Like 37-34 or something.
That's what I said. I said Chiefs 37, Eagles 34, and the final was 38-35 Chiefs.
Yeah, you were close.
So I was also 100% in the AFC.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
So I think
We'll
everybody
see if you
has
can do it again.
to admit that I actually do know my stuff.
Not this year, you don't.
Well, nobody knows their stuff this year. It's been a horrible season.
Yeah.
It hasn't been horrible. It's just been
It's been pretty bad.
it's been interesting.
It's been pretty bad.
I saw a
the
graphic
scriptwriters ought to be
that
fired after this year.
I saw a graphic that was like, of the 16 starters in the AFC, only 5 of them remain in week 18.
I genuinely think that the playoffs would look completely different if players were healthy this year.
Well, obviously, that's how it is every year.
I don't even think it would be close to being the same playoffs. I
Yeah,
really don't.
but the amount of starting quarterbacks that have gone out with season-ending injuries is like at a high this year.
Like it's
Like probably
I've never seen it
half
like
of
this.
the NFL.
Like I understand, some teams here and there, it's like, oh yeah, an injury kind of derailed them here and there. But no, I think the playoffs would look completely different if it wasn't for some of these injuries.
Yeah.
It's just this year's just been brutal.
Injuries are part of the game.
This is the worst that I've ever seen them, though.
Yeah. But yeah, the playoffs should be fun. I'm excited. Always fun to watch playoff football, especially in the NFL. Even though none of our teams are in it, sadly, still be watching just because we love football. But it should be a fun playoffs. We'll see if our predictions are correct. Joel will be sending his predictions in, so I'll put those in here, and maybe John as well. John has to.
I'm very interested to see what Joel's are, because Joel's been having some hot takes recently.
Yeah, so
Rooting for Michigan in the national championship and some other stuff. It's been kind of like, all right, you're a little out there right now.
yeah, so yeah, we'll see what he says, but I'll put those all in. But yeah, so to cap off, I have the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. Nick has the 49ers winning the Super Bowl, and Weaver has the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. So
A lot of parody. That's what you like.
a lot
to
of
see.
parody, yeah.
There have been a couple of different routes between the three of
Yeah,
us.
there's been different rounds. We shook it up a little bit.
Yeah,
But I'll probably link our preseason prediction just so you guys can go back and watch how terrible that was. So yeah, but that's gonna wrap it up for our playoff predictions episode. Like this video if you were excited to watch the playoff. Let us know who you think's gonna win the Super Bowl, and we'll be here every week during the playoffs, reviewing every game like we have all season, and we're looking forward to it. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.